Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today I am working on design ideas for the embroidered block quilt. This is the one that has the alternate block that is got the purple pieced mosaic block, and I'll back up here in a little bit and show you that and show you what idea that I've decided on. I had this quilt on the machine. I put it on last night and it's 3:30 in the afternoon the following day, so I really haven't had time to do a whole lot with it. I've spent today cleaning my house, and we're getting ready for my daughter and my daughter-in-law coming to visit tomorrow from Hawaii, and they'll be here for a week, so I won't be getting any quilting done while they're here. So I don't know if I'll have a video up next week or not, but I don't plan on doing any quilting next week. But anyway, now these embroidered quilt blocks, when you get them, that not only have they printed the embroidery design on them, but they print the quilting lines on there for you, which is great if you want to follow them. Now if you want to do something completely different, these lines don't wash out very easily. There is probably something you can do to get them to come out, some certain kind of detergent or something to get them out. But if you saw my video on my first quilt, it was made with embroidered blocks, and that was made in 1974 to 1976. And those lines are still there, and that quilt has been washed at least yearly since then, if not more often, because it was used, and it was used as it was used on my bed to begin with, and then it was used for my kids to play with, which, you know, it got drug all over the house and was used for tents, and, you know, so it just needed to be laundered. Those lines are still there, the quilting lines. So, and these blocks I have also washed. I washed them before I put them in the quilt, and they're still, those marks are still there. But anyway, today I wanted to go ahead and use my sheet of vinyl and a dry erase marker. This is by Expo, and you can get these like at Hobby Lobby or Joann's. And I don't remember where I got these, probably Joann's or maybe even the Dollar Tree. You know, you can get them in lots of different places. So I'm going to follow those lines with this marker and see what the design looks like, or show you what the design looks like. So these quilting lines actually go all the way through the embroidery work. So it comes down to about like that, and then this one comes between the two pieces and goes all the way down, and then we have this one. There's one here, and then it comes out and forms a V, and there's one there. So what it's doing is we've got lines that are expanding out at a diagonal. Which, you know, this is handy. It's got all the quilting lines already drawn out for you. So if you like the way this looks, you don't have to come up with a quilting design. But if you don't care too much for what they have printed on the blocks, you can come up with your own design. It's just, you're probably just going to have to ignore those little blue dots that they've printed on your block. Okay, so this is all the outside lines. Now there's lines here on the inside, and they've got a line that is following the heart. So I'll put that in all the way around, and this goes all the way through the embroidery. So it's up to you whether you quilt on top of the embroidery or not. here is another. Okay, and then there is a line circling the little flowers in the center. So that is what is printed on the block, on the embroidered block. This is a lot of space to leave unquilted in my opinion. Of course, you know, you can ignore this. You could just do completely your own thing. You can do, you know, a panto over this. You don't have to do a custom quilt job on this. You could just fall in here with another V-shaped line and just fill in those spaces, or you could do something else. Now I want to kind of incorporate this design in with the piece block that I made, so I'm going to move the camera so I can get both blocks in view and then show you what I plan to do in the piece block. Okay, now since I want to follow over into the next block with what's going on here, I would basically be quilting just right down the center of the block from one corner to the next, so on the diagonal, and I would do it on both sides. So just make a big X through the block, and then these lines here are about 1 3/4 inch apart, so that will be my guide for the quilting over here. And I'm kind of guessing as to where the center of that, where it would stop in the center of the block. Right now I can always adjust. I think what I will do is mark this on the quilt before I quilt it. And that one would go like here, and this one would go here. So I'm off between these, so I'm going to have to adjust this a little bit. So that's another reason to do this ahead of time. So if I do all of these lines ahead of time, I have this big square here. Now I could just continue and just put in another square here, but I think what I'll do is put a feather in here, and what I've decided is to do a spin feather. One reason is it's fast, it has motion to it, and I just like the look of it. So it's a whimsical look. It's not formal, and I just like it. So I will do something like that. And that way it's crossing over in the two blocks, so it's kind of melding the design from one block to the next. So I like that look, so I think I'll do that. So another thing, if you do something like this and you're looking in and it's like, well, that's really not a whole lot of quilting in there, you'd really like to do more, what you can do is fill in this space here, and you can fill it any way you want. You could do a background fill. You could just box this out a little bit more. Just follow like a 1/4 inch around on both sides to kind of frame this motif, this feather motif that you have in here. And you could do the same here. Now when you get to the embroidery, you can choose to quilt right over that embroidery, or you could stop it when you hit the embroidery. You don't have to keep going. So you get that kind of a look, and then you'd have lines here. Now if you think that's too much, you know, just, you know, come up with something that you like better. But those are possibilities to do something like that. So what you can do instead of outlining it is, you know, go in here and do whatever kind of fill you like. You could do paisleys. So what if you want to do like a swirl? You could do something like that and really do some dense quilting in there and fill it in. I haven't decided if I'm going to do any kind of filler in there, but you certainly can. It's a possibility. So so for now, what I have planned is I'll be doing a spin feather in here. Just like this. And just following the lines that are already printed on the quilt block. So my plan is to just do the spin feather in the center and just follow the lines that are already in this quilt block and just carrying them over into here and see how that goes. Now that's not a lot of dense quilting, so I'll have to remind myself of that when I'm doing the borders so that I don't do something in those borders that is real heavy. Now I have a 4-inch outer border that is in white, and then I have a 1-inch purple border. So that wouldn't need a lot of quilting in it, but the 4-inch border, if I do a feather in there, that would be a lot denser quilting than what is going on in the majority of the quilt. So I'll have to keep that in mind and either make those feathers really big or just do a different design, maybe a floral design, just copy what's going on in the embroidery blocks, do a flower or do a heart design. So a heart's another possibility. So I can play around with that and see how that looks. Okay, here's the outer border on the upper part of the quilt, and I was thinking about that heart design that I had been talking about. So let's see what I can do with that. With hearts, one thing about them is that you can flip them. So if you start with a heart like this, you can come back and do a heart this way. The idea is to get them to kind of mesh. So I have done this on shorter borders, on thinner, narrower borders. I'm not sure I can do this on a wide border, so let's see how we do this. So you're going to come in. Yeah. So you just keep the line going. The trick is to try to get them to touch here and up here. So you have to really watch that. Another thing that helps is to draw guidelines ahead of time. And I would do that with my Designs with Lines stencil. And let me see if I've got those handy. Yep, I do. Okay, here's one of them, and this is, I think, the 1.5 inch. So this stencil has the little dotted lines in there where you can pounce with chalk. The only chalk powder I have is white, and so that's not going to work, obviously. So what I would do is get my either my air-soluble marker or my water-soluble marker and draw those lines in, and then I would space the heart according to what is here. So let me get one of those markers. Okay, so I would start in the middle of the quilt, which is right there, and draw some guidelines. I don't have to hit every single mark in here, and I can just put dots in there. Let me do this for a couple of them. And this is an air-soluble pen that I have right here. And then I follow it over. And this way, if I decide that these hearts are too big or too small, I can change to a different stencil. So I have them in 1 inch, 1.5, and 2 inches, so I can adjust. This one is the 1.5. So here we'll go. And I'm hitting that dotted line. It's going to take me a couple to get the feel of this, but so I really want that one to come over like this. So that would give me a guide for quilting, and hopefully my quilting will turn out lots better than what my drawing did. But this gives me a way to get them evenly spaced across the quilt. So I kind of like that idea, so I think I will probably follow that. So that is the plan at this point for this quilt, and when I get to quilting it, I will take some video and show you how it's coming out. So I hope you all have a good day, and I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links, and to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.